now for a Next News special report.
Got some breaking news, folks. Trump's latest interview is sending shockwaves through Washington and Wall Street. He's sounding the alarm on an economic disaster that could hit any day now. But that's not all. Trump's demanding the full release of the JFK Files, promising earth-shattering revelations. And just when you think it couldn't get any more intense, he drops a bombshell about the upcoming debates. You won't believe what he's predicting, and stay tuned for my final thought. It'll change how you see everything. Now, folks, just like Trump's warning about the dollar's weakness, gold has surpassed $2,400 an ounce this year. It's not that gold's getting pricier. Our greenback is losing its punch. Some countries are tired of the OPEC dollar game, and, well, they might dump their holdings. And when that happens, your purchasing power could plummet faster than approval ratings. Meanwhile, our national debt's ballooning past $36 trillion, and we are borrowing just to pay interest. Central banks are hoarding gold like it's going out of style. So take a cue from them. Call Global Gold Investments at the number on the screen, 888-700-4148. Mention our show, The Next News Network, for VIP treatment and get their free 2024 Insure Your Money Guide. The number on the screen again, 888-700-4148. Now, in a groundbreaking interview on the AllIn Podcast, former President Donald Trump shared his vision for America's future, offering bold solutions to current challenges. So let's explore Trump's game-changing strategy, starting with the economy. When asked about his top priorities for getting things moving again, Trump confidently laid out his plan for prosperity. Watch.
So I'd say regulation, and taxes, okay? You know, I gave the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, a lot to business. It took them down from, look, as you know, they were paying companies were paying 40%, 45%, including state and city taxes in many cases. And we got it down to 21%. We'd like to get it down lower, actually, but we got it down. And the revenues were better than ever, even with the lower rate. We had a record revenues, which tells you a little bit about that. But also the regulations. And when I asked a lot of people, a lot of big people, a lot of corporate types, big corporate types, I said, if you had your choice between just the taxes or just the regulations, where did I do better? He said the regulations. I was the biggest cutter of in 4 years. I cut more regulations than anybody by far, not even close. And when I spoke to different people about the regulation versus the taxes, I don't think I've ever had anybody say, and the taxes were a massive cut, you know, from 37, 38%, if you look at it just there, to 21%. I don't think I ever had anybody say that the taxes were more important than the regulation cuts. I made it possible to build. I made it possible to do things, to invest. I was able to get companies with a lot of money outside of the USA to bring that money back in. You know, we cut the rate, and it was crazy. The rate was like 55%. So that means if they bring the money back, they lose half their money before they even start. But it was also impossible from a standpoint, a structural standpoint, a legal standpoint. It was very hard. And they were able to bring back, I mean, Apple's an example. They brought hundreds of billions of dollars back from other countries into the United States and invested it here. So, but it's very interesting because I ask the question all the time, which was more important? And almost everybody said I did an even better job. And I got the biggest tax cuts. The biggest tax cuts, bigger than the Reagan tax cuts. But they found regulations, and the regulation cuts were even more effective. And that's where we had the great economy, and that's where we had the most jobs ever produced.
Trump's emphasis on cutting regulations and reforming taxes showcases his business acumen. He probably pointed out his administration's record revenues and job growth as proof of his economic expertise. Trump's warning about current policies aren't just criticism, they're a roadmap about potential pitfalls and ensure America's continued economic dominance. But Trump's vision goes beyond just the economy. He's championing a new era of government transparency, starting with a decades-old mystery. When asked about the JFK Files, he didn't hesitate. Watch.
Yeah. I actually did do it. I released a lot, as you know. But when it came to the whole thing, I was hit by some people that worked for me that are great people that you would respect. And they asked me not to do it. And I'm saying, why? Tell me why. And they said, sir, I think it needs a little more time. And I released a lot, but I said, if they feel so strongly, I respect the people and would have done that again. But this time, I'm just going to do it. But they didn't. They would have preferred that I not release the rest of it. So we did give quite a bit it's going to be done early on. A lot of people want to see that. And whatever it may say, I won't say, I sort of have an idea. But whatever it is, it'll be very interesting for people to see. And we're going to have to learn from it.
Promise us you'll come back again, Mr. President.
There are other things we're going to release, too. We're going to release.
Oh, really? Like what? What else do you got?
We'll talk to you about it off camera.
Aliens?
By the way, generally speaking, and there are reasons not to release certain things, obviously, but it's transparency, and I think it's important that we release that. And there are other things, too. There are other things that you know about. But people, more than anything else, they want the JFK Files. We're going to release that immediately.
Trump's unwavering commitment to releasing the JFK Files immediately if reelected demonstrates his dedication to truth and openness. This bold move could restore public trust in government institutions and provide closure on a pivotal moment in American history. As if his economic wisdom and push for transparency weren't enough, Trump also gave us a sneak peek into his debate strategy, his response to a question about debate predictions was both confident and strategic. Watch.
Well, all I can say is this. I watched him with Paul Ryan, and he destroyed Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan with the water. He was chugging water at a left and right. I didn't think a human being would be able to drink so much water at one time. And he beat Paul Ryan. So I'm not underestimating him. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. But you take a look at the last one. I happen to think he's incompetent for a lot of reasons. I think he's incompetent because he has gotten the worst policies, both foreign policy and internal policy. I mean, who would not want to have a wall? Who wants to have millions of people pouring in? Who wants to have high taxes? You know, taxes are going to raise by 4 times if this guy has his plan.
Is he in cognitive decline? Do you believe he's in cognitive decline, Mr. President?
Well, I shouldn't be the one to say that, but I don't think he's doing particularly well. But I didn't think he was well 25 years ago. I thought he was not a smart person. And that was told to me by a certain member of the Kennedy family who was actually very friendly with me through a Palm Beach relationship. And I was told that very strongly. But so I was never a fan of his. But I will say he beat Paul Ryan. It was still years ago, but he beat Paul Ryan pretty badly. And I assume he's going to be somebody that will be a worthy debater. Yeah, I would say. I think okay. I don't want to underestimate him.
All right. Trump's reference to past debates shows he's not underestimating his opponents, while his assessment reveals a leader ready for any challenge. His prediction of explosive confrontations hints at the passion and conviction he'll bring to these crucial political showdowns. Throughout the interview, Trump painted a picture of America poised for greatness. His economic insights, calls for transparency, and debate preparations all point to a leader with a clear vision and the experience to make it happen. Now, supporters see the interview as a rallying cry, urging Americans to embrace policies that prioritize economic growth and government accountability. They argue that Trump's track record in office proves he can deliver on his promises. While some may question the urgency of Trump's warnings, many experts agree that his business background gives him a unique perspective on economic challenges. His push for transparency in government is widely seen as a positive step towards rebuilding trust in institutions. So as we reflect on these revelations from the AllIn Podcast, one thing is clear: Trump remains a dynamic and influential figure in American politics. His words continue to inspire millions and offer a bold alternative to current policies. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Trump's revelations on the AllIn Podcast aren't just headlines, they're a wake-up call for America. His economic warnings and push for transparency and debate predictions paint a picture of a nation at a crossroads. Whether you agree with him or not, Trump's vision challenges us to engage more deeply with our republic and demand accountability from our leaders. As we face these pivotal moments, let's remember the words of Thomas Jefferson: "Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. The choice is ours."
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.